Hi everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to do a slip stitch, and a slip stitch is going to be usually used for fastening two pieces of fabric together from right sides without the thread showing, and it's a form of a blind stitch, and you're going to use it most likely for like alterations or whenever you have a opening, like a rip in between two fabrics like this. And I can give you an example using this vest right here. So if you look at the side seam, this is the vest, little tiny vest here. But when I open it and you look at the side seam, say I need to shorten this vest for whatever reason, then I can open this seam here to here and go in between the layers and just shorten it. And then I would close this layer using a slip stitch. So I have an example here of what that looked like. I just closed the top and the bottom here, and I'm going to do a slip stitch to close this opening. First, I need my needle, and I'm going to need some thread here. And whenever you guys do hand sewing projects, I would always get just enough thread for you to for it to be manageable. If you get yards and yards of thread out for hand sewing projects, most likely you're going to tangle a lot of it beforehand. So I would just get something manageable, like maybe 2 feet, and just continue to knot and then cut again, knot and cut again, and just do different sections if you have to. Or how to knot that end by looping the thread around my finger and just using my thumb to roll to make a few little I don't know if this is knots, but twists here, and then use my middle finger to pinch in between my thumb, that thread, to create a knot like that. And then I'm going to try to pull both ends of the threads here to get a better knot. So this, you can still see a small knot, but it's a really small one. So I'm going to do that again. Let's see if I could get a bigger one like that. And like that. It's not really giving me a bigger one, is it? Let me try that one more time. There it goes. Now I made it really fat so it doesn't go through the thread. So if it doesn't work the first time, you could do it the second time and third time to get you a heavier knot like I did here. And I trimmed it at the end so I don't have any thread tails sticking out. So now using the thread here, what I like to do is, well, for this swatch, you can obviously see there's like a space in between your seam allowance and your actual garment. But that tunnel, I'm going to refer to this area as a tunnel. That tunnel is going to be important when we start doing our slip stitch. But to start, I want to hide this knot. I don't want to show in my actual garment. So I'm just going to go under here. Let me see if I can do this better. Right this way. So I will start from underneath the fabric and just try to poke through that tunnel. So you can see how I started from under that seam allowance area, and I'm poking it through all the way up to that crease. You can tell how I didn't poke on the garment side, and that's going to be important so you don't see any threads. So just to show again, I started my stitch or needle at the seam allowance area, and I'm just getting one layer of fabric, that seam allowance layer, and pushing that needle to that crease right here like that. So that's how I'm going to start it. And then I started with the top of my fabric, and I'm just going to needle on the bottom of my fabric here. And I'm going to feel for that tunnel, that space in between the seam allowance and the actual garment, and pull my needle across that crease so I get right up at that crease and pull it out. And then I'm going to meet it at the same point of my top fabric and just pull in between that tunnel and get there. Stay along that crease. And I'm just going to go top to bottom, keep on going that wherever I stopped, lining up to wherever I stopped, to wherever my thread stopped here. I'm going to line it up to the bottom fabric here, excuse me, and just keep on going through that tunnel. And I like to do 1/4 inch apart because I don't want it too wide that it shows, like the holes, the openings in between shows, but I don't want it too close that it's just gonna take forever. So you can see here how I did a few stitches already, and when I pull my thread through, it's gonna close it up like that. And I'm using contrast fabric and a contrast thread, so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Obviously, if you're using green fabric, you'll be using green thread, so it's gonna hide it a lot better. And like I mentioned, I'm just slowly shimming my needle in between the tunnel here. I'm just going back and forth from top of the fabric to the bottom of the fabric. Like that. And then I'm near at the end of my opening. So I'm just gonna tighten it again like I did before. Keep it pretty taut here. And then I think I have one more stitch left. And then I'm gonna show you how I would end it. Let me just end it here. So I just have to go on the top of my fabric here, and I'll go ahead and go on the top, and then I'm gonna poke it through at the bottom 1/4 inch away here, like that. Pull it, and then I'm gonna create a knot. I'm gonna create a knot by butting up that needle right at the end of that thread. I'm doing 1, 2, 3 loops, pinching it, pulling it through to create a knot. And you can see how this knot is showing at my garment side, which I don't want to happen. So what I would do is I would put my needle right in between those 2 fabric layers and just pop it out. It doesn't matter if it's popping out on the bottom fabric side or the top fabric side. I'm gonna pop it out and pull on it so it hid that knot. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create another knot here. So I have a knot for my new project. And then I'm gonna pull a little bit on it and then clip it. And when I clip it, it's all gone. The thread here underneath, I'll show you from the bottom. The thread here was just pulled, and my knots are all on the wrong side or the back side of my garment, and it's going to be hidden. And like that, you have a slip stitch.